as you can see from my title, change your identity, because I think this is so important. Um, because a lot of times we are trying to make changes outside, right? We are doing everything out there in the world so we can, see change, have change, feel change, be that change. When we change, we remain that way, and then we realize that we're not getting the results that we um, desire, that we would like to see, right? The identity is where the trouble is, right? How you see yourself, how you see yourself. Hey, Christy, right? You know, you are going to be taking action and based upon how you see yourself. Don't be fooled. Okay? So, if you decided that you want to go down to the gym because it's time to lose some weight now, right? You are trying really, really hard, time to lose weight, and you decided that, well, I'm gonna stop eating certain things, and I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna work out, but you realize that you go to the gym one day, then you quit, or you are just not losing weight at all, and you are wondering what is going on. It doesn't have a whole lot to do so much with you going to the gym. It has to do with the identity you hold of yourself. I'm a runner. My identity, I identify myself as a runner. So I'm gonna show up to the pavement. Yeah, I see myself as a person who is in shape and who is fit and exercises. I'm gonna go down to the gym. I see myself as a fit person, so I'm gonna go down to the gym. I want like to read and study, and if I can't read, then I listen to a variety of stuff. If I can't read, well, not can't read, but if I don't have the time to read, or if I'm not in the mood to read, I'm gonna listen to a lot of materials throughout the day. I see myself as an educated person. I will do whatever it takes for me to be peaceful. Whatever I have to do, I will do that. I see myself as a peaceful person. You get the point. The identity that you hold of yourself. You are gonna take action based upon of the identity you hold of yourself. Don't be fooled. I don't care what you're gonna tell me there. Look at the action that you take. It is in alignment with your identity. That's who you identify yourself as. Okay? Don't be fooled. So, changing your identity, eventually you will change your life. This is not, you know, just a simple, something that people say all the time. It's a fact. And you're going to have to sit down and look at the person who you want to be. Because you are not getting the results that you want right now or the life. You're just not getting it. Relationships. I have my fair share of struggle with relationships. And I realized that that was, I identify myself as a person who doesn't have good relationships. I could try and try to cover it up all I want and make myself look, you know, look good or be chameleon and cover it up. But when I go back and I check the results, I realize that I have some deficient, I was a relationship deficient, and I understood it. I know where it came from. and now it's time for me to fix it. Hey, right? And so I went inside and I looked at the relationship and I realized that, okay, this needs to be taken care of because I want to have good relationships with the people who I interact with on a daily basis. All right. So now, like for instance, you see people who are always in debt and you are wondering what's going on. They would like to have a lot of money, but they are always in debt or they are broke or something along the line, right? So a lot of us, we want things out of life. I don't think that's the problem. The problem is to make the change, create the change, do what it is you have to do in order for you to get those things that you want. I think that's where the trouble is. I personally believe that you should work on becoming a bit more attractive so you can attract some of the things that you want to, or even all of the things that you want to. You might just end up getting everything that you want, right? But working on becoming more attractive, that would be something that you need to do. But I tell you what, a lot of people perhaps are not going to do it, or they're not going to do what they need to do to become attractive so that they can attract, or let's say you are Joe Brown somewhere, here in the States, and you want to get a nice girlfriend. You are tired of being lonely. You just need somebody to spend the evening with, walk the river trails, whatever, and hold hands, walk the dog, and have conversations, sit on the couch, watch a movie, and laugh about nothing. You know, just being in the moment, enjoying life. And you realize that you cannot get the girl that you really want. I'm not saying you can't get a girl. Anybody can get any girl. And I'm talking about the specific girl that you want. You can't get that girl, and you're wondering what's going on. Check your identity. Take a good look. Take out your pen and paper, and write down some of the things that you notice. What's going on up here, and start to work on those things. It's just a known fact. People who are in fitness are just more attractive, unless sometimes you're just born with the perfect face. A lot of people do, but for most people it's not. Like, most of us are just average. We are somewhere between 5 and 7, and I think most of us are probably 5. 7 is like on the higher side, but still we kind of consider 7 as a mid. So 5, most of us are 5. You're gonna have to do some work on yourself. Okay, you can't just do what the other guy, the handsome, good-looking guy, he can just walk into a place and then girls will be like giving him their numbers, and he can just have his way. Most of us are not like that. This is when you're gonna have to do the work, become attractive, and that's what I think a lot of people should do. Just become attractive. You want to attract a certain uh, type of job, then you perhaps are gonna have to do some work. Maybe go back to school, go back to college, or something along the line, or make your way up into that corporate industry. I think it's the work that people are afraid of the most. They don't want to do the mountain of work that is in front of them when they just started out on the journey, and they realize, they see what they have to do. For in my case, I'm saying that, hey, get attractive, but I looked at the work that I have to do. It's like it looks monumentous, but I have to get up and go out there and do the work anyways, because I believe one way how to get what you want is to meet whatever you need halfway. You are attracting it to you while you are doing the work to get those things that you want out of life. It needs to get done. We don't need to make any excuses. Oh, this is the reason why I am not getting what I want. It's because of something that happened 500 years ago. Or it's because, my family, blah, blah, blah. And, some of these things are, might be true. They might have some truth to them, but they are not the total truth, right? It's not truth in its entirety. So, the real reason why we're not getting what we want is because of how we see ourselves. I think it was Robin Sharma. He said that you cannot rise any higher than the way how you think. When I heard that, I said, okay, you know, what level am I thinking on a low level or on a higher level? And I decided that every single day when I get up, I'm gonna do some work to move myself, inch myself a little bit further, and also to personal growth, personal development. It can be a slow process. The results that you need, or the results that you want to see, might not show up within 24 hours. The guy goes to the gym and no, the guy purchased his gym membership. He went to the gym and he worked out one day, and then he said, well, I haven't seen the six pack. And the guy quit too early, quit too soon, don't stay with it long enough to start to understand it. I hear people say all the time, oh, personal development doesn't work. Maybe you don't work. There are there is work that needs to be done, and you are gonna have to do it. I cannot get a six pack for you. I cannot get in shape for you. I cannot get anything for you, really. You have to get that for yourself. And that entails the amount of work that you need to do in certain areas of your life. Maybe you need to wake up a little earlier and take the first half an hour, 20 minutes or so for yourself, and get yourself prepped up for the day, so when you step out into the world you feel a lot more better. Perhaps that's something that you need to do. But when the alarm goes off at 5:45, you said, oh no, and you reach over, you hit that snooze button, and you went back to sleep. You go back to sleep. It's the identity you have of yourself. It's holding you back, keeping you where you are, preventing you from enjoying life, from getting more out of life. Uh, You can at least feel a little bit more happier than you are right now. I remember when I wasn't doing this work, how miserable I was, during those days. Was not getting, the results that I desire. Then once I got into this work here, I think it was Bob Proctor said something interesting. He said, when you start to do this work here, the trouble goes down. And that is so true. I notice my troubles goes down very, very, it's like every once in a while I might have a little hiccup here and there, but for the most part now, I control um, most of what's gonna happen. I believe that, I would like to believe that I am in control of most of what is going to happen in my life. I just want to believe that because you um you are far more powerful than you know. And I know a lot of people don't really necessarily understand that, and I think that's part of the reason too. They're like, well, I'm just poor little me. Whatever is happening in my life, I have no control over it. Not true. If you program yourself to to get the best out of life, you will get it. Even if you don't get the $1 million in your bank account yet, you will still see where uh where results, you will see results being popping up in areas of your life that you will encourage you to keep on going. Yep, exactly. Right. So you're gonna have to change the way how you see yourself. um One way how to change the way how you see yourself is the constant reminder, this is who I am right now. The older version of yourself, that's the one where people know you as maybe they know you as the troublemaker on the block, on the block. And one day you got up and you said, to hell with that type of that type of behavior. I'm not going to be that troublemaker guy anymore. I'm gonna change. The people in that neighborhood still sees you at that, as that. You no longer see yourself as that, and that is key. You said, I'm a peaceful human being, and I am going to treat other people with respect. I'm not gonna destroy their properties. I'm not going to start any problems with them. I'm just going to be a decent human being and live within the law. Hi, all right? And I'm gonna behave like a decent human being. And you start to, maybe purchase some courses, taking some courses, watching some videos. You go down to the gym, you start to run, you start to work out, you start to hang out with a different crowd. And these people have all this influence on you. And you start to look at other people and model yourself, from off of those people. Right? I'm just talking about personal development here, changing your identity specifically tonight, right? And you start to do this work on yourself. Even then, those people still sees you as their troublemaker on the block. That is not gonna go away overnight, okay? Now, when the results finally begin to reveal itself because of all that deep inner work that you do, you will hear, they will tell you, Vince, you, I've been watching you for the past year or so, year and a half, and you have changed. You have changed so much. Now they are seeing the change now. You have been seeing this change long, long time ago, way before them. Now they are seeing it because you can't cover this thing up. I don't care what is it. Whatever you think in your mind at some point, maybe you can not act on it. Let's say it is something, despicable, then you can't truly act on it. And because you understand the consequences of it. But for the most part, anything you think about day in, day out over a long period of time, you're gonna act it out at some point. And you're gonna reveal that side of you, and then people are gonna be like, oh, how long have you been thinking in that way? How long have you been behaving that way? You know what I mean? Mm. Yep, exactly. Right? So, you are gonna have to make that change. Right? You are gonna, oh, thank you very much. So, you are gonna have to make that change. But, more importantly, when you look in the mirror, you see a person in the mirror. That's you, that's true, but that's the external you. When you listen to the voice that's going on up here in your head, that is actually you. If it is good, then keep it. But if it's not, then you most likely want to change that. Like the troublemaker who said, "I'm gonna be peaceful now. I'm gonna live like a decent human being, and don't cause people a whole bunch of stress and problems and troubles and worries and bother them and provoke them, create tensions where where you could simply avoided, you know, hurting somebody else." Identity, the whole of yourself. Changing your identity might not happen overnight, but at some point it will start to take, you know, traction, right? Yeah, right. Yeah. So it might start to take traction. You started off very slow, like the train, very slow, and then next thing you know, that train pick up speed, and you just start to just do things that you start doing things that you have never done before. Good things, wonderful things, meeting wonderful people, lovely people. You start having great relationships with other people because you make the switch up here. That old image hole of yourself as somebody who cannot get better, can't get anything better. When I was listening to Bob Proctor, he said something interesting. Like he said, I thought I couldn't do any better. Now this is a multi-millionaire. That guy earns millions of dollars. He said, I thought I couldn't do any better. At one point too, same here. I thought that I couldn't do any better too. When I go to look for a job, I look for the worst job I can get. So because I just need to start working, so I pay the bills. In my mind, I was thinking, okay, I'm just gonna get the job that nobody wants. Now that sounds innocent, but when you stop to think about it, that's the image I hold of myself. I no longer think that way. Those are that old image is burned off. It's gone somewhere into the universe. I don't know where the hell it gone, but it's not here anymore. Because I hold myself to a higher standard now. hmm In my day to day life, things that I do, and I know it's like asking people sometimes to to become better and change their lives because I have done it too. But something I always say, I cannot, I don't want to hold anybody to my standard. I really don't. Some of the things that I set for myself, I run every single day. I cannot put that on somebody. I wouldn't want to. I work out every single day. I listen to tremendous amount of materials on a day-to-day basis. I wouldn't want to hold anybody to that standard. They are gonna have to do what they can do. Maybe you can run 3 days a week, 4 days a week. Maybe you can go to the gym 3 to 5 times a week, perhaps. Maybe you only want to listen to a 30-minute audio every single day. I listen to audios for hours and hours and hours a day. Okay? I don't know how many hours I put into this thing here every single day. Because I understand the amount of work I need to do upfront, front loaded. So after a time, then it will begin to, I will begin to reap its rewards. Right? I hold the identity I hold of myself. If I don't get these things done, I start to feel uneasy. It's like, you didn't do this work today. What is wrong with you? You know? And then myself will start to get into a big old fight with me. So I don't have the luxury of not doing the things that I need to do. I don't, cause guilt, shame, and that stuff will eat me up all night when I'm laying down in bed. So I have to do the work, and then when I lay down, I said, yeah, whew, got it done today. And I feel good about myself. But I will feel horrible about myself if I don't. A lot of people can get away with that. Can say, I'm just not gonna go to the gym today. I'm gonna skip the gym. I'm gonna go down to the pub or the bar or whatever. You know, I'm gonna have a ton of pizza and some beers and wings and talk a lot of crap and then go back home and sleep and watch some TV. And I can't function like that because the standard I hold myself to will not allow me to just go do that. I can go down to the bar and have the beer and have the pizza and have the wings. I can do that, but it's after I got all my work done. That deep inner work, self work, personal growth work on myself. So a lot of you are gonna have to learn how to raise up your standard, way how you see yourself. Who do you identify yourself as? When I'm listening to the personal development, I say, who are you? And that's a question that I'm like, okay, I don't know. I'm a what, dishwasher, perhaps, or something like that. I probably would have said back in the day. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't know who I was, right? All of that changed when I started to do the work on myself. I became so committed, so dedicated, and I noticed I start develop a type of consistency that I did not know that I could do, carry out. I did not know I could be this consistent. I didn't know. Nobody told me anything, but by putting myself in a certain situation, that is when I built up that consistency. And then I realized that, okay, I need to take things to a whole nother level. So I'm going to have to make some moves in order for me to become the type of person who I want to become. Universe said, hey, get out of that state that you are in, move to another state. I did the move. It was like, hey, you need to move again. I move again. And that's not a mistake. The universe will guide you to where you need to go. You have to understand that. You have to trust that. You make the first move, it might not be the right move. It might be a stupid move too, by the way. So, but it doesn't mean you should just stay there. You should move again. I ended up in an apartment where they have a gym. That is a plus, right? I was able to, I am able to go to the gym every single day. And I live right next to the river trail. I have no excuses. All I have to do, get up, put on my running shoes, get on that trail over there and start running. That's it. Hi, Ruth. How are you? All right. So I listen to that voice inside of me that tells me that, here is your first move. Thank you very much, Ruth. I am doing well. I'm good. I'm glad to hear that you are doing okay. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you for stopping by. Right? I listen to that voice inside of me that tells me, here is your first move. Here is your second move. Here is one thing that you should do right now. Then immediately start doing this next thing. Then again, start doing this next thing again. And then I've been getting the information, been coming through to me. What I was doing there, I was developing a system that I use on myself every single day. And that system has changed my identity. You might have to develop your own system too. So that way you can change your life, change your identity. Stop seeing yourself as that person. Only a matter of time. You know, I saw some things in my earlier days, in my early childhood, and I noticed those things later on came, was like in my face, was like, here, this thing here needs to change. And I look back at everything and I'm like, oh. So I made the decision. I want to avoid all abusive relationships. Either I abuse other people or other people abuse me. That was something that I noticed. That was one of the changes I have to make by observing, paying attention, because I am really, really good at doing self-analysis. Sit down with my pen and paper and write out. I do not want to have to be nasty, mean, and rude to anybody. I just don't want to have to do that. I don't want to do that. That was an image I hold of myself. And I realized I have to extract myself out of that quagmire, relieve myself of that. You are going to have to look at your own life and look in there and look at the patterns. You will see some things that keeps on reoccurring, right? The way how I talk to myself now these days is the same way I am going to be talking to other people, because I realized that that voice that was up here inside my head, I could look back now and listen to it. Every once in a while, it will come in and, trying to take over and run the show again. No, those days are over. That old image don't get to come back and run the show anymore. If I allow it, believe me, it will just carry me right back to where I was. But that's not gonna happen anymore. Those days are over. That image of myself is my personal battle, and I am victorious because I'm winning. I'm doing the work. So to keep that old image away, it needs to stay out of my life. I'm not allowing it to take over my life. It's just not gonna happen anymore. Done and finished. You can do this too, but you must start taking it a bit more seriously. Learn to forgive yourself for some of the mistakes that you have made. I know that, you know, we, we like to beat ourselves up for things we allow to happen to us. And that's okay. But that's not going to bring you happiness. It just won't. Because if you keep on beating yourself up, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have made that mistake. I shouldn't have. No, no. True, you probably shouldn't have. But you did it anyways. Or you allowed that situation to uh, happen. You allow it. I don't care what you're going to tell me. You are responsible for whatever happened in your life there. You could have said no, but you didn't. So now you have to deal with the reality of it. Now it's painful, bloody painful, and you are saying to yourself, okay, now it's time for me to rewrite the story I'm telling myself. You're gonna have to forgive yourself. You know, at some point, you're gonna have to learn how to sit back and say, I allow this person here to do this. I allow it. It's my, yeah, I'm responsible. Yeah, yeah. Because a lot of us don't want to take responsibility. We will prefer to blame everybody else. And that's okay. We can blame, we give you a week or two, maybe a month, to blame somebody else. So that way you can feel good. That's okay. But after a while, because if you want to become peaceful, you're gonna have to um, learn how to take responsibility. I am responsible for whatever happened in my life. Those people did what they did because you allowed them to do that to you. A lot of us do not want to hear that. So we said, well, you get with a girl, you kind of know how that girl was all along. You knew it, but you didn't want to believe it. No, she did some things that you are not approve of, and know you are bitter, you are angry, you are hurt, it's painful, and so forth. You're gonna have to stop and think. I allow this to happen. If without my consent, this could never happen. And this thing I've learned also now the reason why we say do the self forgiveness. You see, it's very difficult for you to forgive somebody else. Just look how hard that is. It's very hard to do. Okay? And also, it's very hard for other people to forgive you as well. Okay? Don't make no mistake. It goes both ways. So, in order to deal with that, start to forgive yourself. When you start to forgive yourself, then you will extend that forgiveness to those people over time. It will happen. Don't worry. It's gonna take some time, but it will happen. You will eventually forgive those people over a period of time. You'll be like, and then you probably start studying personal development, and you will notice that within every adversity, there is a seed of a greater good. That is like one of my, I would say, the one of the best piece of uh, advice that I have ever gotten is that within every adversity, there is a seed of a greater good. Without those rough times, tough times, bad times, I could not be where I am today. Those I say unhappy situations, those negative experiences that I have, are they painful? Sure, they bloody are. Because you do not want to. We don't like pain. We just don't. We want to run away from pain, right? But those negative experiences, I don't. Once I pass through them, I'm like, okay, that's it. I do not want to experience this ever again. So now, I decided that I am no longer going to blame anybody for anything anymore. I'm responsible. I notice how peaceful I become when I stop blaming other people. I notice that. I am no longer going to complain about every bloody thing that I see. I notice how much more peaceful I become when I stop complaining. You too can do that too. All right. So it has been a journey that I went on. I would say it has been one of the best decisions I've ever made when I went on the personal, I should say the self-discovery journey. I think that's what I would call it, because I discovered things about myself that I didn't know. So it's one of self-discovery, and I begin to discover who I am. All right, change my life drastically. I have become a better person. Became a better person. And I just want a lot of you to experience more joy, more peace, more love, more kindness, more caring. You respect other people, they respect you. You hardly ever get yourself in any type of problems. The way how I talk to myself now, I know this now, that's how I talk to other people now. So beautiful, so fun. Your vocabulary is different. You change your life, all of that. All right. Okay, then, folks, I think I'm going to leave it here. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below. I appreciate every single one of you. I will catch you all soon in a new video. Take care. And